The ongoing murder most foul, Tob Cohen, the billionaire Dutch tycoon, the autopsy was taking part today at the Chiromo funeral parlor, and his wife was present, so was his sister, and now there's a tug of war as to who gets the body once the autopsy is released. Our very own Sam Ogina joins us live from Chiromo funeral parlor. Sam, what's the latest?
It has been a 10-hour gruesome wait for journalists and around 5 hours of an elaborate procedure by pathologists here at the Chiromo funeral parlor, whereby it is a day that began early morning at the courts, where the defense lawyer Philip Murgor went to obtain an order such that Sarah Wairimu, that is the estranged wife to Tob Cohen, to obtain an order to allow her to attend this particular exercise, the post-mortem exercise. And Sarah Wairimu arriving here at Chiromo funeral parlor around midday, of course escorted by police escorts from Langata Women's Prison, and making her way all the way to the morgue, where she was supposed to identify the body of Tob Cohen and of course sit through the post-mortem exercise. And of course she did that and sat through nearly 3, 4, 5 hours of that exercise, leaving the parlor at around 5 p.m. of course escorted away back to her holding cell at the Langata Women's Prison. And of course that was how it panned out in the morning hours all the way to the afternoon. And then that verdict that was much awaited by the pathologists, that the 3 pathologists led by Chief Government Pathologist Johansen Odor, of course accompanied by the family pathologist, and also the pathologist attached to Sarah Wairimu, were all present. And peculiarly so, they were not divulging, of course, details of what really was the root cause, or what actually murdered, or how was Tob Cohen murdered, instead being quite cagey and cautious in choosing of their words, saying that there is a general consensus among all the 3 pathologists on the findings of today's post-mortem, but they're not going to divulge exactly what it is that happened, or what it is that killed Tob Cohen. Of course, going back to that ruling by Justice J.C. Lesit, whereby there was a gag order on the investigations and material on the investigations that cannot be discussed in the public. And probably it is something that, or better yet, a press conference that was issued around 7:30 heading into 8 p.m. And this is what the 3 pathologists led by Johansen Odor had to say. Listen.
We've concluded the process of a post-mortem of the body of the late Tob Cohen. We have been here since morning, and now we are through. We were 3 pathologists. I myself represented the state. There was Dr. Gashie, who was here on behalf of the wife, and we also have Professor Ogena, who was also here on behalf of the other part of the relatives. We had so many findings in the body, details of which we are unable to release right now, because as we are all aware, there are details, and there's an existing court order which bar us from talking about the details of the case. And we are going to compile the reports, which will be sent to the respective concerned people. Of course, we are all law-abiding citizens, including the journalists, and we are very clear on what the law states, that any investigation must not be discussed in public. Remember, in addition to the exercise we have just carried out today, there are other investigations to be carried out. For example, we need to do toxicology, we need to do DNA testing, we need to do what we call histology, and therefore it may take several weeks for us to eventually release a final report.
We cannot give much more than my colleagues have said, but I want to emphasize that we have agreed on the findings. What is important is that there's agreement on the findings, and that should suffice.
Do you represent? Well, of course, the other elephant in the room was the issue of custody of the body after the post-mortem. Remember, the sister wanted that Tob Cohen is buried immediately after the post-mortem was conducted. Earlier today in the afternoon, Philip Murgor contested that particular move, saying that the body is actually the right to the wife by law, and that was Sarah Wairimu, and actually said that they're going to court to contest any giving of the body to the sister, saying that the sister was actually an alien in this country. But later on, as the day progressed, later on in the evening, there was an agreement that was thrashed, an agreement that is going to be finalized tomorrow in the morning. And of course, the two sides, the two lawyers from both sides, saying that there is an agreed structure on how that is going to happen. Listen to the lawyers speaking.
The late Tob Cohen must be laid to rest as quickly as possible in a dignified manner. Those are the wishes of Sarah. Those also happen to be the wishes of the sister and her part of the family. So with that in mind, we are sure we could work something out, but we'll let you know tomorrow. In other words, we may not need to go to court.
We have sat with the families, both sides, and we tend to think that this is something that we can solve without going to fight and dragging the late through this kind of a tussle.
Well, so Jeff, no court battles for the burial ceremony of Tob Cohen. What remains to be seen is what is it that the lawyers will agree upon tomorrow on how to conduct that particular exercise to pay the last respects for Tob Cohen, and as well as the court session that will be going on subsequently. Jeff?